Yeah. Okay. This is a rectangle. So, one thing that you have to remember, which I'm going to write this down, because people forget this, and I'm like, how? But you do. So, base and height must be perpendicular. If you don't know what that symbol means, it means perpendicular. If you can't remember it on your notes, write that word perpendicular. But it's very important. Base and height have to be perpendicular. If they're not, then you either don't have the base or you don't have the height. Like in this example. 13 and 5. Are they at a right angle? No. You're so smart. Oh, that's supposed to be right angle. But this line, BZ and YZ, are perpendicular to each other. So we need to solve for that. So there's this thing that we learned. Oh, you got that? Huh? No, this is supposed to be a right angle, but then my pen went crazy. That's just a right angle, but you know me. So here, I'll draw one here too. Right angle, it's a rectangle. The reason you know it's a right angle is because it says find the area of the rectangle. Alright. Two things you can do here. You can plug the numbers in, do Pythagorean theorem, or you can remember that it is a triple.
Dang it. Well, I just remember that.
Good. So if you don't remember the triples, it will really help you to kind of brush up on those. Remember, you can always Google them, use them when you're doing your homework. You won't be able to do that on quizzes or tests, but while you're doing your homework to kind of refresh your memory on what a triple is, you can always do that. So yeah, it's a 5, 12, 13 triangle. You can always solve for it and end up getting b squared equals 144 and b equals 12. You can do all that work, or you can just look 5, 12, 13 and know it off the top of your head. It's very beneficial to know your triples, because the majority of this chapter is triples. Try saying that 5 times fast. Okay, so now we have the base and we have the height, and they are perpendicular to each other. So 12 times 5. 60 units. Oh wait, it's not units, it's centimeters. Dang it. Area, it actually gives us. Okay, one thing I want to point out. 60 centimeters squared and 60 squared are two very different things on the packet that project we did. I saw a lot of people putting their answers and then just putting squared, not unit squared. 3,600 and 60 are very different numbers. Okay, so make sure you don't put a square by that number. You are squaring the centimeters because it's 60 boxes, square centimeter boxes that fill this up. Just pointing that out to you because that's a mistake I've seen. All right, moving on. We are going to work backwards now. We are given the area, and we are given the altitude. Remember, altitude and height are interchangeable. Okay, so you may see the word altitude. It also means height. We're looking for the base. So we need to plug in the area. We need to plug in the altitude. Okay, plug in the height. So, good gosh. 60. I'm really obsessed with that number, I guess. So our area is going to be 20. We don't know our base. Our height is going to be 5. And it tells us all of these things in the problem. So we take everything. We need to now solve for b. Yes, this is easy. I'm not trying to insult your intelligence by giving you these super easy problems. We're going to divide by 5 on both sides. The base is 4 DM. Does anyone know what DM stands for besides direct message? What? That's close. Yeah, that's really close, actually. It's decimeters. Okay. Yeah, so if you're Muhammad, this is a really good conversation that you're missing. We're talking about decimeters. So, what? Yeah.
Stop.
Yeah, so 4 direct messages, if that helps you remember. No, but Decimeters are kind of the lost unit of measurement that no one uses. There we go. Look at that. So I want y'all to write this down because this is the formula for triangles. You will be given this on the test. There's two different ways you'll see it. I like to use this way, but a lot of times you'll see it like that. They're the exact same thing. It's the base and the height divided by 2. You multiply the base and the height together, and you cut it in half. Okay. The base and the height need to be perpendicular. Are these perpendicular? 10 and 15. What does that mean? Yeah, anytime you see a right angle, if they perpendicular just means they are at a right angle to each other. That's all you need to look for. We found it, yay! So we can plug them in. 15 times 10 divided by 2. Easy peasy. Now moving on to obtuse triangles. Now we're getting crazy. I know, yeah. This is exciting. One thing I want to point out is that this dotted line is not a part of the triangle. The solid line is the triangle. But the reason that it gives us this 8 is because of this right angle right here. 7 and this side of the triangle are not perpendicular, so they can't be the height and the base. So, your base is just from here to here. It's just 7. Your height is just 8. So don't overthink this, please. Yep, so you're just plugging these in, but just remember this. They're perpendicular to each other, but you don't want to solve for this entire base. You don't care about that, because that dotted line has nothing to do with your triangle. Okay, 56 divided by 2, 28 millimeters squared. Not bad so far, right? It's horrible, okay. Oh, I'm gonna spill everything. Find the area of the shaded region. Region. I don't know why I'm saying. Yeah. This is. I make funny voices. Find the area of the shaded region. There's a couple different ways you can do this. You can either break this shape up. Oh, the whole thing is shaded. Here, we'll write this.
Shape.
Whole thing. That's right. Find the area of the whole thing. You can do two different ways. You can break it up and you can add them all together. Or what I'm going to do for this one is I'm going to find the area of the big rectangle. And then I will subtract the little square and the little rectangle. Now we can see it. So notice what we have going on here. We have a big rectangle that is this entire shape, and then we've got little square and little rectangle that we need to subtract. First thing we have to do is find the base and the height of the big rectangle. It's not written on there. We're going to have to add stuff together. Yes. Well,
Technically, the little square and little rectangle are both 14.
yes. Let's get there first. So we want to find the entire height. So we're going to have to add up all of the sides. You can't just say 6 because we want to go all the way. Yeah, add 6 and 2.
Well.
Not starting off well. And then a lot of times I see people put 10 on the base here. It's not 10. Yeah, if you put 10, you're forgetting that 2. Don't forget the 2. Because you're adding 6 and 2.
I'm offended.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So Oh, we're getting crazy. So on the 8 and the 2, make sure you're adding all vertical lines. For the 7, 2, and 3, it's horizontal. Yay! 8 times 12 is 96. We figured it out. Write it down. Kyle Reagan.
She followed me.
I was telling you to get things.
I'm sure that they were very sarcastic things.
I said his heart looks cool. She said
She
it couldn't be about the outside.
said my organs was nice.
Ah! You're very healthy.
How do you know?
Good cardiovascular. I don't know. He runs a lot.
That's a big word. That's not that.
Okay, now we need the little square. It's 2 by 2. So 2 times 2 is 4. That's our little square. Yeah, and then we need our little rectangle. It's 5 by 2. Yep, 2 times 5 is 10. So we want to take our big rectangle. We want to subtract our little square. Also subtract our little rectangle.
82.
Yay! Y'all are so good. Now we're halfway through. Alright, once you have that down, go to the next page. 4 down, 4 to go. These notes go pretty quickly. The notes? The test is also not multiple choice, just to let you know. What? Yes. 82 units squared.
I knew it. Hold up. I'm waiting. This is a multiple choice.
Hold up. No.
I'm gonna fail.
No, you'll be fine. Area equals base times height divided by 2. So this is the same thing as the second example we did, except now you're using a triangle. We're working backwards to find the base. So you're given the area, you're given the altitude, which is the height. So if you are lost on anything, read the question. That will help you. Good. We want to solve, so multiply by 2 on both sides. 120 equals 15b. Get b all by itself. You're welcome to use a calculator. You don't have to do all this in your head. B equals 8 units. Yes! I'm glad you said that. So, why would this not be squared? It's not area.
It's not a square.
Yes. Yeah, it's not the area. It's just the length of a side. Good, Reagan. So area is squared, but this is just looking for the base, the length of the base. Doesn't matter. Yeah, if it's asking for area, it'll always be squared. If it's asking for base or height, it won't be. Or do we? Dun dun dun.
I feel like we don't really get a lot of
Okay, well,
Do we have to use the in thing on
Is
this?
it just hide based on
okay, yeah, so are 6 and 14 perpendicular? Oh no, they're
We
not.
have to do the little dash line.
The little dash line. Ah, so smart. Little dash line.
a hypothetical triangle.
Little dash line.
How do we know which one's longer?
Why, thank you. What? How do you know which
We
one's...
just, like,
Ah, that's a great question. So how do you know which one? It shows, yes, yeah. So you know that this one's longer because 30 is going to be across from the short leg. 60 is going to be across from the long leg. So remember our steps. Yeah. So n equals 3. The reason you know how to do that is because 2n is equal to 6 and n is 3. Here is the one place where I see a lot of mistakes. Yeah. Well, here's where I see the mistakes. You plug the letter N in, and then you plug 3 in right there. Yeah, so the height is 3 root 3. what I see a lot of people wanting to do is add 14 and 3.
No. 14 is now 11.
Exactly. Yeah, so the whole base is still 14. That doesn't change. You don't care about this down here. All you care about is the height. So our height is 3 root 3. Our base is 14. Do not put it in decimal form. You will answer in simplified radicals on your homework, quizzes, and test. All those things. Simplified radicals. No decimals this chapter. Make sure you remember that.
No, keep it.
Alright. Last two problems.
Ow!
Alright. Please stop. Okay, guys. Chill. We're so close to being done. We've got the two bases. So if the height and the base are perpendicular, the two bases are going to be, yeah, the other word that goes with that. So here's one of our bases. This is going to be base 1. Base 2 is going to be down here. We have to figure out the length of base 2, though. You know? No. So what you can do is you can split it up into 2 triangles and a rectangle. You don't know the area. So if you knew the area, you could do that, yes. Alright, notice what we have going on here. We've got 18 on the top. We've got a rectangle. So that means this piece from here to here is going to be 18. And then you've got 2 Pythagorean triples. This is the one, this one right here is the one we used on the very first problem of the notes.
It's 9.
This one over here is, but blank 12, 13. Yay, someone remembered it, 5. So 5, 12, 13. And then this one over here is the same as 3, 4, 5, it's just multiplied by 3.
It's not 8. So you just add it all together.
Yeah.
You do 14.
Yeah. Alright, so now we know base 2, it's 32, and we plug all the numbers in.
You're about 11 off.
8, yeah, but it was a good try. 18 plus 32 divided by 2 times height. Here is one of the big mistakes I see, is instead of putting 12 for the height, people like to put 13 or 15, even though they're not perpendicular with the bases. Yes?
Why? What? The 30 and 12 and 5.
I hate you.
This, the 5, it's Pythagorean triples. Guys, we're almost done.
It's hilarious.
It's freshman problems, man.
Freshman.
Yeah.
I'm a sophomore. I hope these freshmen
Alright, Preston, stop with your mouth moving. Alright, we've got 50 divided by 2 times 12. And you get 300 units squared. Alright, you've got a couple options with this. You can use the trapezoid formula, or if you want, you can split it up and have 2 triangles and 1 rectangle and add them all together. Whatever you prefer. But no matter what, you will have to find the 5, the 9, and the 18 and find that base. So none of that changes. Alright, last thing. It says the area of a triangle. So that is how we know to use this formula. The area of a triangle. Where's your notes? Copy.
I'm ahead of the curve.
Go. You're looking at me. You're not copying them.
I'm ahead of the curve.
So, one thing we need to do... Oh my gosh, I can't talk. Change this to base. Alright, Reagan, come over here.
I wasn't even talking.
I don't care. Come here.
Now
Now.
you know
Or are you
Can I
talking
at
to
least sit
Cindy?
can I at least sit by myself so I don't have to sit next to a person?
Yeah, get away. Whatever.
I'm so
Kyle, you can go in the hall.
Dang.
Oh.
Okay.
I'll take my phone. I'll take my phone.
Alright. So we've got base and height, but notice this said altitude. So now it's going to say base. Go. And it's in a 2:5 ratio. So notice what I did here. We've got 2x and we've got 5x. Because what a ratio is, it's a fraction that is simplified. So we've got to figure out what that x is. We've got to simplify or figure out what they simplified it by. So anytime you see the word ratio, here's what you need to remember. Put x's on it. That's it. There's actually 2 of these problems in the homework. So we've got the height and the base. This is the height. Woo! This is the base. Right there. And the area is 45. So we have all of those things. So the base is 5x. How did I know that the base was 5x and not 2x?
Because it says height to base, so it's
Yes. I just want to point that out so you know which one is which, because you can get the problem wrong if you don't know that. Okay, now I gotta solve. Multiply by 2, 90 equals. Here's where the vast majority of people mess up. What's 5x times 2x?
Square.
Yes. So a lot of people end up solving for x and get 9, and then they plug that back in and they're like, well, the area is not 45 anymore. Well, that's because it's 10x squared. So don't forget that, because that will trip you up. 9 equals x squared. Yeah, x is actually 3 and not 9. So when you're solving for the height and the base, the height is going to be 2 times 3, which is 6. The base, 5 times 3, which is 15. So you have your height and your base. That's nice. When you have that filled in, go to page 8. And I want to point some things out for you on the homework. Yeah, so all of the homework this unit are going to be on paper. But one of the things, I'm going to stop this.